Okay, next up is LTV. Welcome, Diana. I think Len is going to introduce this first. Len, did you want to introduce this first?
Yeah, I know she's anxious.
Very good, Diana.
So, as you know,
that means hurry up. She's ready. By the way, that hand motion.
I'm always being rushed. People think I talk a lot. LTV. Back in late 2015, we received some complaints. There was some problems with respect to people questioning operations and finances. Right? The board decided that maybe it was time for an outside audit or review of LTV operations and finances. So we hired Naraki Smith. The board, of course, represents about 85%, or the town represents about 85% of LTV revenue. So the town board decided that they wanted somebody to go in and take a look and see what was going on at LTV. We hired Naraki Smith to go in and do an operational audit and financial review of LTV. They came back to the board in early 2016 with a report that had 19 recommendations for action. They reported that to the board. LTV was there that day, and at that presentation, LTV discussed some of the things that they were doing initially to respond to the Naraki audit. At that time, the board asked LTV if they could come back at the end of 2016, maybe early 2017, and give the board an update on where they were with responding to those findings and recommendations in the Naraki audit. So that's what they're going to do today. They're going to give us an update, and hopefully this will wrap up the findings and actions taken as a result of that audit. In addition to that, our contract with LTV requires a performance review be done every year, and that basically is LTV coming to the board and explaining what they've done over the last year with respect to programming and coverage of meetings and things like that. So we're going to do that today too. So the two things basically is an update on response to the audit and the performance review. That's it. What's that? All right. All yours.
Thank you. Hi, Diana.
Board.
Welcome.
Town attorney, town clerk. I'm very happy to be here. I'm going to make this as painless as possible because there were 19 responses. And before I do, I'd like to say thank you to this board and all the previous boards for 30 years that have been so supportive of LTV, which is unique on Long Island and maybe throughout the country. Fraser Doherty had a dream. He made it happen, and today we have LTV. And I think it's a very important asset to this community, so I'll start with that. As far as the recommendations, there were 19, and I will say that every single one of them has been addressed. I will give this to the clerk for the record. These are our responses, but I would like to do our board presentation to you first because it answers so many of the questions that have been requested. The board and the previous board and Mr. Shelley, who was our former chair, worked diligently to really respond to every one of these responses. I was appointed to the position of chair in December, and I'm very happy and proud and humbled to be able to tell you that we have taken care of every single one of those items. Just quickly, I'm going to mix, obviously, our report, our annual report to you. I'd like to do that now, and our budget report. So LTV has a full-time staff of 5 persons and a part-time staff of 5 to broadcast both channels 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. And I really want to commend our staff because that's a lot of work to do that for this community. We film roughly 25 individual meetings per month. That's 11 distinct government and school boards. We maintain the website, and if any of you have been on the website, you could see it is outstanding. You can go in there and pick any meeting that is a public meeting, government-wise, and be able to access it immediately. So that's something that I'm very happy to say. I happen to look at Southampton CTV, who has tried to replicate a little bit of what we've done, and there's just absolutely no comparison. So I suggest you take a look at their site. We maintain that site with video on demand and live streaming. We videotape studio shows produced by the community, and a lot of them are wonderful and fun and interesting and quirky, and I think that's an absolute asset. Southampton has not been able to get their second channel up, so we're very proud of that we have that much content, and working in partnerships with a lot of our community to do more content. We're absolutely extremely proud that we now have a Spanish-speaking program that is amazing, and Walter is here. Thank you so much for that. And a lot of our board members, thank you. And we hope to do more on that. So we're very excited. I was on the show, a couple of weeks ago? Yeah, thank you. That was fun. So we continue to produce new shows and events for the community and provide internships for our high school students and hands-on education for students who want that. And we maintain, which is very important, an incredible archive of everything that's gone on in this town for over 30 years. And Jeannie Henderson does that. Thank you, Jeannie. She's amazing. And that is something that no one can replace. We have an archive of 30 years of community involvement and people and history. And just recently, because the board has decided to do more in enhancing our income potential from other areas besides the town contract, we applied for a grant from the Robert Lyon Gardner Foundation to be able to maintain and help us access. So we don't know where that is yet, but we're looking at those kind of things to make us even more viable. So we're extremely proud of our staff, our board. Like I said, all the boards before mine, even though there was quirky stuff going on, everyone did their best to help enhance this community. And Morgan, I have to do a special shout out to her because she was dropped into a swirling kind of thing. And without her, I mean, she's an Energizer bunny. She does everything the board asks of her. So we're very proud, and I want to thank Morgan personally for that. So I've prepared a little packet for you because show and tell is great. And I tabbed it. I mean, I really tried to be organized for you. But you will see our annual programming report, the actual verbal written one that tells what we do, including our $40 equipment purchase that we handed also to the town clerk. You have our financial statements ending December 2016, which are wonderful. And the Clark and Marshall ground rent appraisal. Thank you for helping us with that, Alex. So that's important as well. You have what I think is the most important piece of your packet there, and it's a sample packet of what we do at each board meeting now. So you will see an agenda is sent out to the board in advance, and there is a drop box that has been established. So you'll see a little screenshot of what that drop box looks like on the internet, and every board member gets that. So they have access to every single piece of information that is going to be presented, or any different types of things that we will discuss. You also have what the executive director prepares every month for us, and you can see it's really detailed as to what has gone on in her purview throughout the month. And then you'll see the minutes of the meeting. So you'll see that everything from stem to stern has been handled as far as board packets and board information. The next thing you'll see on tab 5 is a board of directors manual and guidelines. That is something that was missing. And that kind of tells the board of directors, what are your duties? What are your responsibilities? What are your ethical challenges? And that has been established and voted on and accepted. We also have the conflict of interest policy, which every board member signs every year. We have the Audit Committee charter, where the Audit Committee was established with its duties and what it needs to do, and that was also required. We have a whistleblower policy, which is attached and was voted on and adopted by the board. And then our purchasing policies and procedures, including the 2017 board-approved vendor list. So all those items kind of answer many, many of the questions in the 19 items that have been addressed. And anyone in the public who wants to know how LTV operates with the public and what you're allowed to do and how you can come in and how you're training if you want to produce a show, that is available on www.ltveh.org. So that is all public information as well. So again, without the community, these boards, our staff, and our board members and our executive directors, we would be nothing, but we think we're more than wonderful right now, and I'd like to thank the board for that. So we're awesome. Now, we are. Come on. Just put on your TV. You'll see how awesome we are. So as far as the report, the 19 points, if you want me to go down quickly, and then I'll give this a copy to the clerk so she has it as well. Number one was, has a system been established to properly identify procedures? Absolutely. QuickBooks, especially for all our grants and outside income and underwriting. So that is now an established program that everybody's using properly. Are production budgets being used to better account? Yes. I'm not going to read the whole question, but give you an idea what the question was. Is the LTV purchasing policy? Well, you have that now included in your packet. Is the LTV vendor list? You now have that included in your packet and our procedure as well. Are related party transactions being identified? Yes, we've established a conflict of interest. You have that in your packet as well. Are all purchases being supported by documentation? Yes, absolutely. And again, since we've voted on the vendor list, all that is processed and now goes through. And you can see from the executive director's report that every major purchase is also reviewed by the board. What has been done to create an accurate fixed asset inventory? Yes, we're in the process of doing that right now. It's an ongoing process, obviously, because things are purchased and sold and either excessed if we're not using them because technology moves quickly. But LTV is taking 2 weeks away this spring to be able to finalize that to the point where it's complete, and then it'll just be a matter of updating. But it does take a lot of staff time, so we're working on that, and we will be done with that in May. Our reimbursements to staff members and board, et cetera, yes. Present practice to staff and executive director and are reported to the board by the executive director, including those credit card purchases. We have a small $200 kitty, I guess you'd call that, for any incidentals, and we monitor that as well, and all receipts must be maintained as well. Credit card purchases, I just addressed that. Are all personnel decisions reflected? Yes. We deeply discuss staffing because we have so few people to run such a large, all day long, 7 days a week, 365. So we discuss salaries, we discuss any raises, we discuss any new personnel coming in. All that is presented to the board by the executive director. We're pretty hands-on. Are new employees being hired, provided we have an employment manual? I don't want to give it to you because it's really, really big. But if you want one, I can send one electronically. But we do have that, and it's up to date with all the new regulations, including exempt employee requirements, which are now $47,000, $585. You must pay overtime under that. So that has also been updated. Is the accountant now doing bank reconciliations? Yes. We have an independent bookkeeper now who has an experience working with a major accounting firm, who does bank and credit card reconciliations. Sabling and Opplinger has been retained as our new accounting firm, and that was presented to the board and approved as well. And they specialize in not-for-profits. They have a special not-for-profit arm, which is very important to us. This is something we knew we needed. Are the LTV packets? You have them. Our expense and revenue variances? Yes, QuickBooks does give us that ability to have a variance in what expenses are projected and spent from year to year. And any variances, of course, the Audit Committee and the board would be well aware. Deposits that exceed the federal limits, we have 2 bank accounts, and hopefully we would want to have 3, because then we, but we make sure that we never reach that FDIC limit. So we do have 2 accounts that are now held for that. As the Audit Committee met, and there is the scheduled meeting, we established the Audit Committee basically at the end of last year. We have the mandate. We do review, but we have not had an official meeting. That'll happen in the second quarter. But there is an established, and you can see in your packet what their mandate is. And our account receivables up to date? Yes. And has the new independent auditor worked to establish better categories of expenses? Yes, we have a new chart of accounts that better itemizes revenues and expenses for specialized accounts. And that, I am happy to say, is our report. So we've checked off every box. Again, we're very proud. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to let you know what we do. And we want to make sure that we have an open dialogue and communication, because we are part of you and we are an integral part of the town of East Hampton. So thank you very much. And any questions I can answer.
Board members?
Thorough.
I would, I want to thank you. I want to thank all the board members. I want to thank Morgan. When we first became involved in this and didn't, ask Len and our staff to get involved and brought in outside auditors to take a look at this, there were concerns. I mean, the truth is there were concerns. And we didn't place blame for that. We didn't think that that was what we should be doing here. We felt that we just simply wanted, proper internal controls and policies and processes to be put into place. And you have accomplished that, and I want to thank you for doing it. I mean, our role here is to simply ensure that, because we are providing substantial funding to LTV to assure the taxpayers of the community that those funds are being properly
Absolutely.
spent. And you've accomplished a great deal. You, prior board members, Morgan, everyone who's been involved in this, Len Bernard, Charlene, and others. So we thank all of you for a good report and a very appropriate response.
Thank you very much. It's our pleasure. Continue giving us money. Continue watching TV. I think we provide a great service, and like I said, we're very proud of it. We're the only one on Long Island that works in this way. And again, Fraser and prior board members, and here at the town and at LTV. And what I call it was growing pains. I think an operation that started very small and very local with not a lot of outside experience happens to have growing pains when you start to get bigger and so forth. So thank you for letting us continue, and thank you for your support always.
I'd just like to add that, it's been a pleasure the last 5 years being liaison to the town's only cable access network. As you said, LTV's gone through an incredible growth process. It started out as an idea in a garage, basically, and has turned into a state-of-the-art facility and operation that I think we can all be very, very proud of. Even on a national scale, I think it's an example of what cable access should be and can be. And, although you've gone through growing pains, I've seen constant improvement and procedural tightening of operations, and a very, very professional organization has emerged. And, I think one of the most important things that LTV does for the community is it captures our everyday life, and it archives it so that future generations can see what happened. And we have, you mentioned the archives before, Jeannie Henderson's done an incredible job, as well as the other people at LTV, to ensure that, the fabric of our life is recorded. We've had many people who have been interviewed who, have a historical context in the town that is now gone, if not for LTV. And so I cherish that as a resident of the town, to be able to see that and experience that. And I think the public service you give to our community by allowing the people of the town at their leisure to pull up a broadcast of any governmental meeting, school board, whatever, to see what's going on, it just really is an incredible asset. And so I thank you all so much for what you've done.
Our pleasure.
Thank you, Diana.
Thank you
Well
very
done.
much.
Len, you're going to make the folder that was submitted by Diana part of our file, right? Because it's fairly complete in terms of their policy.
Yeah, no, we'll
Okay.
add that to the file.
Thank you.
Everything's, I think we're just about done with respect to the audit and the follow-up. I think that was very thank you. I think that was a great presentation, and they've done a great job. So we're pleased in the finance department.
Thank you.